everyone, and welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch The Great Muppet Caper 2 minutes at a time, and then we talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, we have a very special return guest who was on for the Muppet movie. Tell the listeners who you are, guest.
It's Julia Gaskill, Tough Pigs writer and Muppet fanatic.
Yay!
Yay! So glad to have you back, Julia.
I am excited to be back.
Wonderful. And today we are talking about minutes 61 and 62 of The Great Muppet Caper. In these minutes, we hear the rest of Couldn't We Ride? And then we watch Kermit and Piggy ride bicycles. Eventually, they're joined by the rest of the Muppet gang who help them finish the song. So I don't want to dwell on the end, but this clip ends almost exactly when the song ends. And I love when that kind of stuff works out for the podcast.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, it felt really well timed.
Yeah, so first I want to talk
Almost
about...
as if Jim Henson was anticipating that we would be doing this podcast.
He knew.
Somehow, he was way ahead of his time.
He was such a visionary.
Yeah.
Jim Henson invented podcasting. You heard it here first. So I want to talk about the song. We, of course, Ryan and I discussed it last week. Julia, is there anything you want to say about Couldn't We Ride? Right up front.
Sure. I mean, I guess like the thing that I think y'all both know, but maybe the majority of your listeners don't know, is that my first tattoo is on my back, and it is of a bicycle with the words "Couldn't We Ride," which I got when I believe I was 20 or 21, so about like 8 or 9 years ago. Yeah, so there's that.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I love that about you.
I would think the song is one of your favorites, or it means a lot to you.
It's definitely one of my favorites. I mean, we'll get more into it, I'm sure, but this is like my favorite Muppet movie, and I remember like at the time struggling a lot to decide what I wanted as a tattoo, because I knew I wanted something Muppet related. And I honestly don't know, because I know it was between this one and then also a lyric from I'm Gonna Go Back There Someday. So it like kind of came down between like my favorite Muppet and my favorite Muppet movie. And for whatever reason, this one won out because it is one of my favorite songs. And like, it's such a classic moment in general, which we'll also get more into when we talk about the actual scene. But the song itself, like, I don't know, I've tried really hard to describe it over the years, like what this song means to me. It just like, to me, it's about like, just why couldn't we ride? Why couldn't we like, just instead of like dwelling in like anything, let's go on a bike ride. Let's go do something that makes us happy. Let's, go enjoy the beautiful day. It's just really like inspiring to me, as is a lot of Muppet related things. But I don't know. This song has always like stuck out to me over the years, and so it's on my body for forever.
Well, I like that you decided to go like you didn't just go with a picture of Kermit or Kermit playing the banjo, something that would be more obvious. You went with a more fanciful reference to a Muppet thing.
Yeah, something a little more nuanced, which I think I've only ever had one person out in the wild be like, oh, your tattoo has to do with Muppets. I live in Portland, Oregon, where everybody rides bikes. And so I think more often than not, people are just like, she rides a bike, obviously. And I mean, they're not wrong. I have ridden bikes in my life, but, usually like if people are like, oh, you have a bike riding tattoo, I'm just like, yup. And then I leave it at that, because I don't want to get into like the details of what my tattoo actually means with a stranger.
It would be such a twist if you actually didn't know how to ride a bike.
I know, that would be pretty funny. Yeah. I haven't ridden one in like 5 years, but yeah.
Yeah. It would be like, couldn't we ride? No, we can't, because I don't know how.
That would be good.
Yeah. But yeah, so the main thing about this, certainly about the Kermit and Piggy sequences here, is that it's full of puppetry tricks. There's so much in this scene that is just jaw-dropping. I mean, I think it's one of the most famous Muppet scenes for that. But it starts right at the beginning here, where we start with the famous loop-de-loop, where Kermit and Piggy both ride in a circle around the street that they're riding on.
Right.
Which is, like, first of all, we get it from two angles, right? We see it overhead, and then we're kind of looking at them from the side of the street. And you know that Jim Henson just really, really wanted to show off here.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the notes in that little memo or notepad where he was originally brainstorming ideas for the movie. He wrote something down to the effect of like technical puppet scene that makes people ask, how did they do that? That was one of the things he wanted to make sure was in the movie.
Well, and it's true. Like, do we know how they did the scene where Kermit and Piggy are both riding bikes in opposite directions around one another?
Well,
Like,
I actually ended up, I jumped the gun a little bit last week. I read a little bit from an entry on Jim Henson's Red Book blog that described how, so the basic idea of them riding bikes is pretty similar to Kermit riding a bike in the Muppet movie, which is that there's an elaborate marionette with a crane above them. And then for when they're riding around in circles, there were multiple marionette operators on rotating platforms. So
it's wild.
Yeah.
They just had to really be very coordinated to make it work.
Because, I mean, it looks so great. It absolutely looks like Kermit and his Piggy are riding bicycles.
Yeah, you don't question it. Also, there's a little moment at the very beginning of this clip when they're still, it's a close-up shot, and they're still hand puppets. And at the very end of that shot, they both start to veer off to the side. They're going separate ways. And that also really helps to sell the illusion that, like, oh yeah, this is just Kermit and Piggy, and they're riding bikes around in a circle.
I definitely also noticed that like there's just like so much like seamless cinematography where they like switch from the hand puppets to the obviously like being marionetted. And then are there in this movie, did they use any they didn't do any of the full bodied on the bikes, did they? Because I know they did later with Miss Piggy in this movie. But is it all puppets and animatronics in just this shot?
It sure looks like all, like when they're riding in wide shots, they look too stiff to be people. I feel like Piggy, especially, like her head movements are very stiff. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't think any of these are people in costumes. Also, I don't know if it's possible. I was going to say I don't know if a person could fit inside this
true.
Piggy, but
I don't know if a person could fit inside that Kermit.
Definitely not in the Kermit.
But I was going to say on the topic of switching back and forth, after they do the circles, the next time we cut to the puppets, they both lift they're holding hands and they lift their hands up together, like into frame. And we don't see any rods. So like, no. So like, did they just paint the rods out maybe in post-production there? I wonder.
Were they doing that back then?
I mean, literally literally painted out by hand is what I'm wondering.
I don't know. I see now what you're talking about. I wonder. I mean, they could have just attached their hands together, and then I don't know. Is there a marionette string lifting the hands up from above? I don't know. I don't see a string.
That's possible. That's the thing is I don't see any kind of string or rod. Yeah. So it's like. Clearly it's a trick. Like even that shot, which should be the simple one after the trick shot,
right?
They're doing another trick,
right? And not only had I not noticed, I hadn't noticed that I hadn't noticed. So
yeah, exactly.
Sure. And then we cut from there to this weird close up of Piggy's bike. Like it's like the wheel and the basket of her bike, and then it starts to pull back, and we see them riding full body again.
Yeah.
But I kind of wonder, why do we get a weird close-up of Piggy's basket before it pulls back? Like, it's a very oddly framed shot.
I don't know. I wonder if some of this is just like, they're zooming in close, but you still don't see any wires. Maybe they're just, like, maybe it's Jim Henson kind of like daring us to figure out how they're doing this.
Yeah, that might be right. But anyways, then we watch them ride around again, the animatronics. For a little while. And then who do they ride past? But Stellar and Waldorf.
Yup.
Making their first appearance in this film.
We're over an hour in. That's the first time we've seen Stellar and Waldorf, who in the previous movie were the first Muppets that we saw.
Yeah.
That's
Other
true,
than Dog Lion.
Other than Dog Lion. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so and the first time we see them here, it's just a close up. Like they don't say anything.
Right, they're just watching. And I've watched this movie at screenings before, and that always just gets a big laugh when just people seeing Statler and Waldorf sitting on that bench.
Just a reminder to like plebeians being reminded that Statler and Waldorf exist.
Yes, they're just delighted to see those guys.
Well, sure. But the reason for that close up is that when we cut back to Kermit, he's standing on his bicycle seat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what a guy!
What a guy!
He's trying to impress Miss Piggy with doing a handstand on a moving bicycle.
Very dangerous.
He's trying, and she doesn't notice at all. That's what I love.
Yeah, she's just kind of riding on.
She's just riding on, and then we cut back to Statler and Waldorf. Waldorf does say, "Look 'em on, no brains."
That's a good one.
Which I love. Like it's so stupid, but it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah. In the screenplay, this is described as Kermit showing off a la Butch Cassidy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, which is a reference to a scene in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid where Paul Newman, everyone has seen that, where Paul Newman is doing a bunch of tricks on his bike to impress Catherine Ross. But I don't know how many puppeteers it took to perform Paul Newman.
Aw. You should write George Roy Hill a letter and ask him.
Maybe I will.
The director of that movie. But yeah, and then when we cut back from Statler and Waldorf again, Kermit is now balancing on the handlebars upside down by his hands.
Yeah.
Like to the point where, like, obviously they didn't film this upside down, but it kind of looks like he's hanging upside down, right? It's not just me.
What do you mean?
Like, it looks like the kind of thing where like a shot was done upside down to make it look like someone is in zero gravity or something, but they're actually just upside down, like hanging from a ceiling. Like that's what he always looked like to me here, even though obviously he's on a bike, he's outside. They didn't shoot this upside down, but the way he's hanging just looks like a person who's hanging from something rather than a person who is standing on top of something. I don't know. It's weird.
Rather than a person who is supporting himself from below.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I think that's just because Kermit is a puppet.
That's just because he's a puppet and not a person, right? And again, I mean, Piggy was still oblivious. She does not notice any of this.
Yeah, that's true. That makes it funnier.
It makes it way funnier, I think. And then, of course, Kermit gets into an accident, and his bike comes rolling past, and that's finally when Piggy notices him. And that to me, the sound design of Kermit's accident is so perfect. Like we just we see his bike go rolling past, we hear the thud of him, and we hear him kind of go, wow, ooh, bruh.
Yeah, last season we talked a few times about Kermit's mouth noises in the Muppet movie. I don't think he does as many in this one, but there are definitely some good ones here. Whereas, yeah, it's like...
And then, again, with the special effects, Piggy, as an animatronic, turns around on her bike to go back and get him. And then Kermit is a puppet, and he drops into the basket of Piggy's bike, and then she's also a puppet, like in that shot.
In the close-up. You know what, though? He doesn't actually fall in the basket. He's on the handlebars.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But it seems to me it would have better if he were in the basket, wouldn't it?
I guess they just wanted him to be like in Piggy's arms as she was like biking.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, this way she's sort of cradling him.
A little bit, yeah. Also, to go back to the accident really quickly, because watching this scene a couple times, I was reminded about something that always has bugged me. With him getting stuck in the tree, like, the branch is so much higher when he's actually stuck there that there is no way that his leg would have actually been able to reach that high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. He's like way up in the tree.
Yeah.
How did he... He should be on the ground, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, what he would like, because he pans off screen when he has the accident. So, like, what would have had to happen for him to suddenly get up that high in the tree so quickly? Well,
I mean, if frogs couldn't hop, he'd be gone with the Schwinn.
So. True. Maybe there was some hopping action that we just missed out on.
Yeah, you're right. His Kermit's legs are not that long.
Yeah.
So then he's in Piggy's arms, on her, laying uncomfortably on her handlebars. And the song starts back up with words again after quite a long time of no words. And
we did have that moment also toward the beginning of this clip where there's like a chorus singing the song.
Yeah.
Which feels very much like an old-fashioned studio, like Hollywood musical to me.
Well, and it makes it feel like First Time It Happens again.
I was literally just thinking about First Time It Happens, yeah.
Like, I really like that the songs in this one have more of a, like, relatively consistent feel compared to some of the Muppet movies.
Like, even the opening number, Hey, a Movie, has, like, a human chorus almost.
Yeah, it does. You're right. All the people are singing along, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess that's kind of the thing in this movie.
In this one, yeah.
Yeah.
So then, but what I like here is that the chorus comes back in, and Piggy starts singing along in the middle of a line. The chorus says, "Why couldn't we fly?" And Piggy just says, "We fly." Right? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Like, that's when I start hearing her voice.
I guess so.
Like a person singing along with a song. You know,
like a song you sort of know the words to.
Yeah, like Miles Morales trying to sing along with Sunflower in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Man.
Right.
Nice.
Thank you. But and then Kermit joins in. Kermit sings I know we'd get by. And then who should come biking up but 14 more Muppets on bicycles?
Everyone.
Oh man, so good. Because we go from one Muppet on a bike in the first movie to 2 Muppets on bikes to 16 Muppets on bikes.
Yeah, they're saying, "Oh, you thought 2 Muppets was impressive? Watch this."
Yeah, and so when I say 16, all the characters present are Kermit, Piggy, Gonzo, Fozzie, Dr. Teeth, Floyd, Janice, Zoot, Animal, Scooter, the Swedish Chef, Pops, and 4 rats. So it's most of the characters who have real speaking parts in this movie and 4 rats.
The most noticeable absences, I would say, are... So Ralph is not there.
Yeah, that's true.
Lips is not there, and Beauregard is not there.
Well, Beauregard's at work. I mean, he's driving a taxi, so that makes sense. Sure. And Lips, that's fine. Who cares? Lips
right,
is terrible.
That's the thing. I don't think... the fact that I've never noticed that Lips isn't there says a lot, I think.
Yeah, well, and I kind of think Ralph, I don't know how you see Ralph with legs.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Maybe they just didn't know how to make his whole body.
Right. I mean, he's just one of those characters that looks like a shag carpet, you know?
Yeah. We see his whole body in a few shots in Dog City, which was how many years after this?
8 years after.
But I think he's wearing a suit in those shots. So
yeah, he wears that vest and collared shirt.
Yeah, that was their way to make that look less weird, but they hadn't quite figured that out at this point.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we have 16, so that's still pretty impressive, even without Rolf.
Yeah.
And then they get to sing, like many of the characters get lines. And it's great. I'm especially fond of the way that Scooter rides into frame and enthusiastically sings the title of the song.
Yeah, I like his little bounce as he's singing.
Yeah, he's he seems so excited to be there, you know? He's just so happy to have been included in the song. He's like, Rolf, you didn't get to come. You know, he's going to make fun of him later.
His line comes right after Floyd and Janice singing together, which means that there are 2 Richard Hunt characters singing a line of the song consecutively. That's right.
And then their lines are sunny sky, pretty day, just a push and we're on the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Scooter has Why Couldn't We Ride?
Yeah. That's great. And then they all, we see them all ride away. They all ride away from us in a very, very wide shot. It's this big sweeping shot of all 16 Muppets.
Here's something I noticed. Just briefly. Here's something I noticed for the first time. The Swedish Chef appears to have a loaf of bread sticking out of a basket on the back of his bike. Have you ever noticed that?
No, I don't think I noticed it on this watch.
No, me neither.
I think that's what that is. And it's such a small thing, but I really like it.
Well, that's great.
He had to do the grocery shopping for the hotel.
Yeah, he's got to cook for the whole staff later.
Yeah, with one loaf of bread.
Right.
Love it.
Yes, so all the Muppets riding bikes together and then riding into the distance in a very wide shot. I don't know if most people look at this and think, how did they do that? As opposed to just like, oh, isn't that nice? Muppets riding bikes. But yeah, really, how did they do that? So there was an episode of the Jim Henson Hour, the short-lived but occasionally brilliant 1989 TV series. Is
Look,
called
you can just say it. The greatest TV show ever made.
The greatest TV show ever made, yes.
Mm-hmm.
An episode called Secrets of the Muppets, in which, among other secrets, Jim Henson explained how they did some of this bike stuff. He said, when we got to the Great Muppet Caper, we decided that bicycles were fun for Muppets. So first of all, we just did a bicycle shot with Kermit and Piggy, and we found as soon as we did 2 bicycles, it was really easy. Easy, he says, because then we didn't have to worry about holding the bicycle up because we could tie the 2 bicycles together across the axle. Once they were attached together with a stiff rod, we could pull both bicycles with a single string. And then he says, when we needed to show a whole group of characters, we just tied the bicycles together with rods. If you look closely, you can see a rod going across between the bicycles. Now, I've looked very closely at this clip. In previous times, I have paused the Blu-ray and backed up and tried to see rods going between these bicycles. I don't see any rods going between these bicycles.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's talking about, but they did a really good job of making it seemingly invisible. And then he says we could radio control the mouths of the characters and pull the whole thing along with strings. And then referring to this last shot, he said, in the shot where they're going away from us, the whole rig is being pulled from in front by 2 big tricycles. You have to look close because they're way down the road there. One of them is being ridden by my son, Brian. So I see a few... Yeah, I mean, I think I see what looks like the tricycle he's talking about. There's a guy in a green shirt in the distance. I don't know if you guys looked for these.
Yeah, he's in a green shirt, and then he turns around and says, "Hi," and that's how you know it's him.
He says, "Hi, I'm Brian Henson. See if you can find some bicycles in this movie, The Great Muppet Caper."
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess that's him, and then there's another, or there's another guy in a darker shirt, sort of up and to the left on the screen. Yeah, but I don't see any strings. I don't see any rods. This is a seamless effect. And the fact that they have all these other people riding bikes in this shot, and nothing, nothing got tangled up. Nobody's falling down, getting tripped, tripping over the rods or the wires.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And what's weird though is after we get that big shot of them all riding, then we cut in for a tighter shot of Pops and 4 rats.
Yeah.
Which, always, it feels so anticlimactic that, the joke rat shot comes at the end rather than, end on this big, impressive shot. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. I like it. I think it's a nice little... I mean, it makes people chuckle.
Yeah.
And, the rats on their 4 rat tandem bicycle it's a very cute visual gag. So.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I like those guys.
Jim Henson did submit this movie for consideration for a visual effects Oscar. And this is, there's a Red Book blog entry that talks about that this was one of the scenes he cited, I guess. I don't know what the process is, but I guess you have to justify why you think you should be nominated for an Oscar. This is one of the scenes he mentioned, but they did not get the nomination. Boo.
Boo.
Oh, so what was it? Do we know? Raiders of the Lost Ark probably
you know
won,
what?
right?
I didn't think to look it up. Maybe we should do that.
Yes. So best visual effects. There were only 2 nominees that year.
Yeah.
And they were Dragon Slayer and Raiders of the Lost Ark. So Raiders of the Lost Ark did actually win visual effects, which probably deserved, frankly.
Yeah.
And among the team that won that year were Richard Edlund and Joe Johnston. So good for both of those guys.
Yeah, those guys are good. I've never seen Dragon Slayer.
No, me neither. But the effects are apparently by Dennis Muir and Phil Tippett. So
those guys are good too.
Those guys are good too, yeah.
So, all right. But I don't know why only 2 nominees. Why couldn't they just give a third?
Why don't they just throw it at Great Muppet Caper? Huh?
Yeah.
Anyways, so then it would be nice if that had been the very end of the clip, but we fade to black, and then a model wearing black runs away from the camera, and we start the next scene, which we will talk about next time. But I like that effect. I like that
fade to black, and then immediately the black screen becomes the model's
dress.
Shirt. Yeah, dress, whatever that is. Yeah.
So that brings us down to the end of here. But Julia, we like to ask our guests, what's your history with the Great Muppet Caper? Do you remember the first time you saw it? And where would you rank it among the Muppet movies?
I don't know exactly what age, but my first memory of watching anything Muppets was this movie. Growing up, I know we owned this one and we owned the Muppet movie. And then I think we also later on owned Christmas Carol. But, I mean, I remember like watching this movie a lot as a kid. I remember my brother and I thought that Beauregard was really funny. And then we would also, I don't know, I feel like I've probably told this story somewhere on Tough Pigs, like in one of my features that I've written, but like, we thought it was so funny, me and my twin brother, like, we would just, like, randomly throw ourselves on the ground and yell taxi as if imitating Gonzo, like, all of the time in our house. Because, like, obviously, like, if you're a kid, jumping in front of a car is the funniest thing ever. So, yeah, I don't know how old I was. I probably was about, like, 4 or 5 when I first started watching this movie. But it was, for the longest time, my favorite Muppet movie. And then I think I got edged out by... Treasure Island for a short while when I was in middle school and high school. But currently it ranks as my favorite Muppet film of all time, which I think I already said earlier in this episode. It's funny because like if you were to ask me what the best Muppet movie of all time is, I would say The Muppet Movie, but this one is my favorite. It has all of my favorite songs. It's got my favorite gags. I don't know. It's just like a delightful, fun movie. It's great. There's not much more to say about it. It's just a lot of fun.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think Ryan and I both agree with all of that.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah, it's an interesting distinction between best and favorite, but I know what you mean. Like some things are just sometimes you just really like a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
Awesome. But yeah, so that brings us just to the end. So any final thoughts before we close? Julia, I'll start with you.
It's just such a lovely number. It holds up over time. The visual effects of it, like to this day, look astounding, and I don't know, it's all kinds of remarkableness and joyfulness all wrapped up into one. And yeah,
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And Ryan, how about you?
I just had one other silly thing in my notes, which is how do you think all these other Muppets ended up riding bikes at this park? Like, there's no way they should have known that Kermit and Piggy were going to be there, unless for some reason Kermit called to tell Fozzie, "Hey, don't wait up for me. Piggy and I are riding. We're renting bikes and we're going to ride around the park." And
Fozzie was like, "Well, you're going to ride bikes without me?"
Right. So then he invited the whole gang. I could see that happening.
Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all. Just that silly thought.
Which he already did earlier in this movie. So
yeah. That's why I thought it seemed plausible.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we are done with this episode of Moving Right Along, and we will be back next week with another one. But in the meantime, please check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter. We're all over the place. Our theme music is by Stacy Rosen. Our logo was designed by Morgan Davey. Thank you, Stacy and Morgan. You can follow me on Twitter at Zeppo Marxist. You can follow Ryan at @MeRyanRowe. And Julia, where can our listeners find you online?
My handle is almost always Geek Girl Grown Up. You can find me occasionally on Twitter and then other facets of the internet as well.
Awesome. All right. And listeners, if you're so inclined, please give us a positive review on iTunes and tell all your friends to listen to the show. And join us again next week for another episode of Moving Right Along. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.